Hey, long time no see, Alicia. It's really nice to see you.
Hello, Vlado. It's now finally time to end our vacation and come back to Media Intelligence Explained podcast.
Absolutely. By the way, I'm not sure how it is with you and Ruepoint, but here in Identrics is extremely busy. I don't know what's going on, but August, which usually is the perfect month for like strategic vision, research, etc., it was and it's still extremely busy month with a lot of business opportunities. So in a way, if you want to have like a proper vacation, I believe that we should move it like at least 2 months before August.
Yeah. August was extremely busy here also. So I had a short vacation just after I finished one tender. Then I came back and there's another. So yeah, there's a lot to do, but it's good. Business is good. So
yeah, business
nothing
is
to
good.
complain about.
And we're going to talk how to do more business. And this is the Media Intelligence Explained podcast. I'm Vlado. I'm the CEO of Identrics, and together with me is Alicja Bors from Ruepoint. Media Intelligence Explained podcast is produced by FIBEP. And FIBEP each year organizes the FIBEP World Media Intelligence Congress. And this is serious business. Like this is one of the greatest business enablers for the whole media intelligence ecosystem. And for second consecutive year together with us, we have Todd Murphy. Hi, Todd.
Thank you for the applause.
These are paid people clapping for Todd. Yeah, Jeremy paid them to do that.
We're live in front of an audience of two.
Yes.
Thanks for inviting me back, or maybe I invited myself back. I'm not quite sure, but it's always fun to talk
welcome here, Todd.
It's always fun to talk to my two favorite podcasters in FIBEP. So thanks for having me again.
Thank you. We will say a few words about today's topic. Obviously, that will be the Congress in Singapore. And what we will do is we will explain the main topics that will be covered, the meta topics, and the awesome opportunities to do business, to learn more about the industry, to get introduced to interesting people and companies. So let's start with the fun part before reaching the serious part, which is the content. Why Singapore, Todd?
Well, why not?
A lot of people are asking this.
Yeah, Singapore. So the traditional pattern for FIBEP is doing 2 congresses in Europe and then 1 further away. We are an international organization, so we have members in all countries, well, in all continents at least. And Singapore was a way for us to go to that part of Asia that we haven't been to before. So it's also a very exciting city. It's somewhat of an unknown area to many people. Everyone knows of Singapore, but not too many people have been there. So in a way, and I'm just kind of drawing conclusions from some of the comments you made earlier, for those who were too busy in August to take a proper vacation, October is the perfect time to extend that vacation. Come to Singapore. There's going to be so many opportunities to learn and even validate the trajectory that your company's on, but to have some fun and do some sightseeing. Singapore is unlike any other country, city, island. It is so unique that even if you have to stretch to make it there because of time or family commitments or money, whatever the excuse might be, which are all valid excuses, I would encourage everyone to make it to this Congress because it may be many years before we go back.
Yeah, and even me and Vlado, we are coming, even though we are not very good with flying. Yeah. We are both terrible at it, but we'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, the Bulgarian and Polish airlines maybe don't have the greatest safety records, but maybe you can, take a train to another country, Germany, somewhere, and fly a proper airline. Because we have to get you guys there safely because, personally, I have to let everybody know that the entire Congress has been built around one session. And that is we are doing for the first time ever in the history of FIBEP, maybe in the history of the world, a live, in front of a live audience podcast recording. Starring, written and directed by Vlado and Alicja.
Again.
They will be interviewing one of the greatest gentleman of FIBEP, Aseem Sood, our friend from Impact, who knows everybody, who's also the president of AMEC, and just a wonderful man. So that's something I'm going to get up front. You cannot miss Singapore, because if you do, you will miss the live podcast.
Yeah, you could be part of the podcast. So yeah, obviously that that is the centerpiece. Like the whole agenda was built around that session, right?
That is the purpose of Singapore. For people for anyone who likes to hear their own voice, Florian, he'll have the opportunity to ask a question. It will be recorded and then live on the podcast. Carlos, we'll probably have to mute Carlos because,
that's impossible.
If you give him the mic, it's not one question. It's a 30-minute dissertation that crosses between culture, technology, alcohol, and his wedding.
Science fiction, futurology,
But I don't think he has a built-in mute button.
No,
we'll have to upgrade him.
Yeah, we need to upgrade Carlos 2.0.
Yeah, but obviously a lot of people from the media intelligence community and all the major companies and their representatives will be in Singapore. So yeah,
you're exactly right, Vlado.
But before that, there's something exciting happened even before the Congress. So maybe Todd, you can tell us a bit about it.
That's great, Alicia. Good segue. First, maybe I'll take us on a bit of a travel journey. We'll switch to kind of a travel podcast because that's never been done before.
Yes.
3 exciting things to do in Singapore. And I'm just going to pick 3 off the top. So to get you there, it's a city of not just one island, but did you know Singapore is made up of 64 islands?
No.
The pre-Congress trip, we're actually going to explore one of those islands, Sentosa. So I'm going to come back to Sentosa as the pre-Congress trip because we still have a few spots left for those who want to come in early and take care of themselves in mind and body first. Did you know that Singapore is also the home to the world's first night zoo?
No.
They've got a zoo that's open at night. Who would have thought?
Only during the night.
Only. Maybe I didn't read that far. I'm just using the Chamber of Commerce Visit Singapore site.
Okay.
Last fun fact for Singapore, it's a city of man-made waterfalls. They make their own waterfalls there. Some cities make, glasses and desks and, computers. Singapore makes waterfalls. What could be cooler than that?
Nothing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you can call with all your jet lag. You cannot sleep because you're, in a different time zone. So you can visit the night zoo. Then you can go watch some waterfalls and listen to their sounds.
Watch a lion, eat some raw meat. What could be more fun than a night zoo? I assume they have lights on so you can see, but I have never been.
Yeah. You've never been in Singapore before?
I have not, no.
I have not, though. I have been in Asia, never in Singapore, so I'm really looking forward to this 8-hour trip from Doha to Singapore and 4-hour trip before that. They should worth it. So for sure, we will be there. There will be, we want to say that there will be a lot of out of the event activities like this trip. And I know from experience that almost each day from the event, there are organized sightseeings, group restaurant visiting. I'm not sure how to explain that, but thought, is anything of that planned?
Yes. So the agenda, the evening has something going on every night. It might just be a cocktail party. We have a gala dinner. All of that's on the agenda. Let's come back to that because I want to just get a quick answer to Alicia's question about the pre-Congress trip. So we're going to Sentosa, one of the 64 islands of Singapore. It's the premier island resort getaway. This 500-hectare resort island, and for those who aren't on the metric system, that equates to about 300 acres. So it's not a huge island, but it's got award-winning spas, retreats, and the resort that we are staying at has some amazing opportunities. All of this information about the pre-Congress trip, the World Media Intelligence Congress, registering, all is on the website at FIBEP.info. And for those of you who don't know how to spell FIBEP, it questions how have you been a member this long and not know how to spell it, but I will spell it FIBEP.info. That's an English translation. I'm not sure how you would spell it in French, but that is what it is.
Yep.
So dates, Sentosa trip, October 22nd to 24th. You may want to fly into Singapore on the 21st. Although we did arrange it that you could, if you arrived in the morning on the 22nd, you have time to join the trip and get to the island, so you don't necessarily have to have an extra hotel night. So we will be at Sentosa from the 22nd to the 24th and be having some great fun. I just want to pull that up real quick because
so I understand that you're coming. So one of the attraction is meeting Todd in person.
It's really kind of I don't want to call it a high level meeting. It's kind of like what's that city where everyone goes for the you get to rub elbows with Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs if he wasn't dead, and world leaders, it's like that. This is kind of the leaders of our industry are going to go relax, have a few cocktails, talk, deep state business, things that you don't say publicly will be said on the island. Let's see. We're staying at the Sofitel Singapore Resort and Spa. We will have the opportunity for a morning yoga class, which, Vlado, you and I have to hit the yoga class.
Absolutely, yeah.
Alicia, I can tell Alicia is already highly centered and calm. You and I need that.
Plus, mindful. She's really mindful. So
Plus, a little stretching wouldn't hurt you or I, Vlado. So, yoga would be good for us.
Yoga is perfect.
Then we actually have on the agenda beach and pool time to relax. We're going to do lunch at the Cliff, a 3-course lunch. There will be an afternoon activity. Don't know. We might be hunting lobsters or fishing for lobsters. I don't know what they have in Sentosa, but yeah. And then one night we're doing a sunset sail cruise with dinner. So I assume that will be dinner.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah. Alicia, we'll have cocktails for you. I know you'd prefer to drink martinis for dinner. So we'll make sure we have plenty of those if you can make it. Yeah. And then on Tuesday, the 24th, we'll head back to the mainland and everyone can get cleaned up and ready for the Congress. So register for Sentosa if you want to come in and relax and have fun. A lot of people are bringing their significant partners with them. Yeah. Small group, intimate discussions, fun time. That's how I would sum it.
I would like to say that these trips, they sound fun. They are fun, but they're perfect for any newcomers to just meet the community. And I really promise you that the people from FIBEP are extremely friendly. So these trips, like this sightseeing part of the whole event, this is the perfect networking opportunity. And when I visited my first FIBEP, I did that. And this was really beneficial for me and my business. And I was really introduced, and in a way I was stunned how friendly everyone was. So I strongly recommend everyone who will visit Singapore to go to those trips too, especially if you're a newcomer to the event. Like, this is my personal experience sharing with you. So it's really worth it.
That's a great point, Vlado. And I hadn't thought of it, but I did the Galway trip last year, the side trip, and really got to be friends with Gabby Begas from EFAT in Israel. Got to know Thomas Veleman, the current president of FIBEP and Infomedia, and his wife. And so you're right. It's just a way to really get to know people at a more personal level. You have some common interest then, and it's a very relaxed environment. There is a little bit of shop talk around business, but no one goes deep on that. It's fun. It's interesting. It's a good time. So thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, this is the time before the event. Let's talk about the event. And just for the record, the date and the location of the event, do you know that?
Yep, it's October 25th is when we start. In the morning will be the General Assembly meeting, kind of the business portion of FIBEP. And it's not just a formality meeting. It is interesting. We'll be discussing a few things related to what FIBEP is working on. There'll be a vote for new members to be approved, and any new officers to the board of directors will also be discussed in that meeting. So if you're a member, it's a good meeting to take in. That starts at 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday, October 25th.
Great. The location? Maybe. Is it like a fancy hotel?
Oh, yeah. It's
event center.
At the Shangri-La Hotel and Resort.
Yeah,
Just the name.
just the name. Okay, I'm sold. Yeah.
If you go to, we've all heard about, it's not like Shangri-La, but this literally is Shangri-La. And on their website, their first homepage says, "A sanctuary arises where the city disappears." And
Okay.
we will take over the place. We're going to own the hotel. We're gonna have so much fun in such a beautiful environment. Again, if there's one thing you do this year for your company and yourself, it's to get yourself to the Shangri-La for the Congress.
So we know the date, we know the location, the meta topic. I know, though, that you're part of the group, the content group. I don't know how to properly explain that, but like the team which work on the agenda, the content of the event. And I'm sure that there is like a meta topic, like in a way, the focus of the whole event. Will you share with us and the audience like an overview of the content goals for the event? So if I go there, or if the people which are listening to us visit the event, what will be like the main centerpiece, except the live podcast, of course? But from a content perspective, is it going to be like a technical focus, or legal, copyright, or maybe content or product, or in a way mixture of all of this?
It's really going to be a mixture, Vlado. And I have to thank several groups. First of all, I've got to thank Raina Lazarova from Ruepoint and Natan from Muckrack, who just had a baby, who's, I believe, named Teddy, the name of my son. But they helped me. They shared the duty of building the agenda over several months. And we built it based on the feedback we've gotten from the last several meetings. Is we extended the time for networking so people can have those smaller conversations. We also chopped down the topics, so we're not covering so many topics in small detail. We're covering the key topics in a little bit more extended detail. Now, within those panels, we might have 2, 3, or 4 panelists that represent different perspectives on an issue, but we're really talking about all those things that you mentioned. AI, technology, machine learning, large language models. Obviously, that is the biggest thing to hit our industry since the scissors came to the press clipping industry.
Yeah.
Arguably bigger. But it's, we're almost a year into the AI topic, and so everyone has already been to multiple congresses. So the theme, future-proofing your media intelligence, is going to talk about it in a way of, how do you move forward? What do we do with this technology? Everyone's going to solve how to get the technology into their product, but how are you going to get it into your project? What's it going to do for your clients? And at the end of it, future-proofing your media intelligence is really how we all make more money and grow our company in a healthy way into the future. So that's the major theme. But like, for example, our keynote session to kick off is a great set of ladies. Stephanie Ng, I'm going to say, last name is NG, from HSBC. Raina Lazarova from Ruepoint, whom Alicia knows. And it's going to be moderated by Amrita Sidhu from MediaNet. So just Raina and Amrita on stage together, you can already imagine the energy that panel is going to have.
Yeah.
And since Amrita nominated Stephanie as a speaker, I believe this is going to be a great way to kick off the meeting, the topics, the Congress. So we start with them. Then we have a nice 30-minute networking break. Plenty of time for people to get reacquainted with old friends and meet new friends and visit the sponsors. And of course, I've got to, again, thank our headline sponsor, 9 Stars. They've stepped up once again, like they do most years. Gopal and even my bandmate, Dimitar, will be there. We'll still talk about getting our band back together and maybe going on tour of the former Soviet Union countries. But we'll see. That's
You'll miss Poland this way. No way.
Yeah, we might make it up to Poland. We'll see. The host sponsor, it's always nice when you go to a city to have a host sponsor there. So MediaTrack, Stefan Eglund, who's also a FIBEP board member. And of course, I hope Soren Enemark, my friend and frequent FIBEP Congress beer drinking buddy, he hopefully will also be there. But those are just 2 of our big sponsors. And then after the keynote, though, after that 30-minute networking break, then it is Alicja Bors, Vlado Petkov, the live in front of a studio audience recording of Media Intelligence Explained podcast featuring Aseem Sood.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this one. I'm so happy that we will have Aseem with us on the podcast. He's a great person in general, but he's also a great speaker, so I'm very excited for them. And there will be occasion for everyone to ask questions directly during the recording. So you might have a small cameo in our podcast.
Good. Well, I'll try to work my way in if I can get around Carlos. But I do want to finish out the first day because we have an interesting session at 4 p.m. called The Future of Work. It involves technology and business growth. But that's the one thing that we've been dancing around for a few years is we haven't talked too much about hiring practices, working from home, working remotely. And all of us are aware of it. But if you're going to future-proof your media intelligence company, you have to address the thing that's most important, your people, the people on your team. In the United States, there's a saying that's incorrect. It says that customer is number one. I always say the customer is number two. Your team is number one, and if you don't take care of your team, then the team can't take care of your customers. So that's at 4 o'clock on the first day, and that's a must-catch session. Then we have another break, and we wrap up the first day with everyone's most energetic event, the Super Networking Session, again sponsored by Global News and moderated by Carlos Diaz.
For me, this is usually the centerpiece of the event. Like if you haven't been to a speed dating event where you will literally meet like 50 people, something like that, you need to do it. Like if you're a newcomer, but not only, like everyone who is on the Congress should do that. And because of that, bring business cards. Like this is my advice. You need business cards. I know that our marketing departments, they print them, like they constantly print them. My marketing people, each year, they produce like 500 business cards for me, which I usually do not give, but usually they rebrand us. And after that, I have 500 more. But this event is perfect because you can distribute like serious portion of these cards. Otherwise, they will just stay. But seriously, this is a really interesting experience. I really love just monitoring how Carlos will moderate that event. I still remember the way he did it in Berlin just a few years ago. I believe it was in 2018 or 1918, I believe. And he used a stick and he was clapping with the stick each time when people should shift places. So it was really interesting. Carlos outdid himself. And funny part aside, it was extremely useful and interesting for me. Very colorful. Yeah.
Well, and with that super networking session being in Germany, it's probably no coincidence that Germany and Argentina have some strong historical ties. Maybe he was just channeling that, and maybe his iron fist rule that year was on purpose. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
I must say, the first day I'm so excited. It's a banger after a banger, and there's a banger, and then there are cocktails. This is a perfect day.
Yes, excellent. More martinis for Alicia. MediaNet's sponsoring a networking and cocktail party from 7 to 10 p.m. So after the super networking session, go upstairs, close your eyes for 20 minutes, splash some cold water on your face, maybe stretch out, limber up before the cocktail party. It'll be in the Dutch Pavilion at the hotel. You won't even need to get a ride. You can just walk your way to the cocktails. There will be some food there, I'm sure, so you won't starve to death.
Okay, and this is just day one.
Yeah, I know. I'm already working up a sweat, and I'm already exhausted, and that's just day one.
Okay, let's imagine that everyone survives day one. What will happen during day number 2?
So day number 2, I'll breeze through this one, although it's such a high-value day. We start the day off, again, Natan Edelsberg from Muckrack will moderate a session, Voice of the Agency. He's got a speaker, Jamshid Wadia from Edelman in the APAC region. We'll be doing essentially a moderated keynote about what, from their perspective, they need as a client. And this will be a great place to ask questions about future technologies, future solutions. So that's the day we kick off at 9 a.m., and that'll be our first session. Then we have another 30-minute networking break, an extended break for everyone to talk to any colleagues they want to connect with or peers they have questions to ask. And then at 10:30, we have a long session. It's it's a 45-minute session, not a long session, but it's a big member panel about upselling services and real innovation. Sometimes there's that trap we get caught in where just because our developers can build it doesn't mean anybody wants it or cares about that feature. So we'll have Amrita from MediaNet, Magdanal Rogue from Media Meter, Robert Cabus from DataZet, Soma Gasper from Separ, and Iwa Balahova from Newton Technologies, all on a panel asking questions about how to upsell with real innovation. That'll be very exciting.
Really interesting. Yeah, really interesting. You all know that my background was technology. I was CTO in AData Pro for more than 10 years. And really, what you thought said, this is usually we can do it, but is it required? How do we defend this budget? How do we rationalize our capabilities and features and in a way measure how they impact our products? So I'm really looking forward to learn more from these panelists.
Well, and the disconnect is understandable and obvious. I'm even feeling it now as president at Truescope. What the salespeople ask for from the development team oftentimes feels like it needs to be a priority, but isn't necessarily a priority. And then your client success or your customer service team, they'll ask developments to be created that may be too costly or only affect one or two clients. All those things need to be weighed when it comes to what developers do in terms of creating and enhancing your product. So I agree. Be a great session. That'll be followed up with some statistics about our industry. We'll be presenting the state of our industry survey results for this past year. And that's a good, real quick session before lunch. It's only 30 minutes long. What's the trajectory? What are the benchmarks? And it's a good place to kind of compare your company against the averages. And then we'll go to lunch. Now, lunch on the second day is going to be split in two. I don't know if you recall, the beginning of this year, we launched a very innovative series called the Executive Forum. And that was the idea of Thomas Veleman, the FIBEP president. And it's a way for the leadership of FIBEP companies to come together and hear about topics that might only affect CEOs, presidents, market managers. So we're going to have a great speaker. DataZet has lined up a lady from Ninja Van. On paper, her name looks like Ying Ying. I've been told she says she calls herself Wei Wei. So I have to admit my Asian translation into English is very, very poor.
It's subpar.
But for those executives that will be in attendance, there'll be a breakout room for that Ninja Van speaker. And I heard she's quite energetic. So it'll be a fun lunch.
The CEOs, they have to register for the executive forum to attend?
They should. Ideally, they would let us know in advance and in a simple email. I'll just collect those. If they just want to email me, todd.murphy@truescope.com. But if you don't get around to it, you don't get registered, we're planning room for about 30 executives plus our speaker. So we'll all go through the lunch line and then we'll take our food. The executives will go to the breakout to hear the Ninja Van topic. Not that we're creating a class structure and trying to divide everybody, but we wanted to do one executive forum live and together, and the Congress is the obvious place to do it.
Perfect.
What else do you want to know? It's just too exciting. I mean, I can let you ask questions, or I can roll through the rest of the afternoon on the second day.
Please, let's finish the second day. Okay. I would like to learn more about the networking breaks, which you said that you extended, but do you change the format? Are we just going to have a longer networking sessions, or in a way their structure will change?
Yeah, it's a great question. I know some conferences will have you fill out a passport that you visited all the sponsors. And really the feedback that we've gotten from our members is they just wanted more time to talk, informal time. So we've built that in this year. We're not forcing anyone necessarily into playing a game where they might win an iPad or some other piece of useless technology they already have, but we're just giving the people what they want, and that's time. All of us are working so fast and so hard that time is probably the greatest commodity that we could give. So that's what we're doing. And it's also an extended period to visit the sponsors. The sponsors that have booths that are showing new technology, new ideas, or advancements in their current technology, they'll all be there. Some of the sponsors like Zizzer, Ove and Tor, our Norwegian Viking friends, they'll be there. Ruepoint, Yoon Anders, Tanjas, and Simon Soon, the CEO from Ruepoint, will also be on hand. Of course, Jack Murray, everyone's favorite storyteller, will have a Media HQ table. There'll also be data scouting and ex-media sports. So some of the old faces, but a couple new faces should be there.
Perfect.
So that's kind of the networking opportunities and breaks.
Yeah. Great.
The rest of the afternoon.
The rest of the agenda. Yeah, the rest of the agenda.
So we have Evolution and Future of Media. Our own Alicja Bors from Ruepoint will be on that panel.
Woo! Yeah, I'll be the one.
I know her.
Yeah, I'll be that one person who will talk about social media.
Good.
I still think that we focus a lot on traditional media, but there's not enough talk about social media. So I'll be there.
I heard that social media is becoming quite popular. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard so. Yeah.
We'll get into that new technology of social media.
Yeah, me and Todd, we just opened our first MySpace accounts.
Yes. And we are having quite a bit of fun on MySpace.
Yes.
Well, there's a couple other people. Andres Zale, a guy from Transpress, I believe, will be there. I can't pronounce his name.
I think it's Andres Szalej-Berzewicz.
Exactly what I was going to say next, but thank you. And Kus Husem from Chicago, as it's pronounced, but on paper it looks like Xcago. So little known fact about the company name. But that'll be a very good panel, a 1 hour panel, because it's a pretty big topic, future of media. How do you get that into 45 minutes? We take a break and then we come back for everyone's favorite copyright guru and man with the most fabulous hair in FIBEP, Christoph Dickus from Onclusive will be leading a panel with both content providers, publishers, and related people. So if copyright, licensing, all of that is an issue to your organization, do not miss the 2:45 p.m. session on day 2, October 26th. If for nothing else, to see Christoph's hair. I mean, let's face it, it's great hair. I mean, I try hard. That guy, he's French. I can't compete with the French.
Yes.
And then we're going to end the day after a nice break. We're going to have a half-hour break. We're going to end the day with Jack Murray telling us a story about future-proofing your media intelligence. He's got a better working title, actual title for that. But suffice it to say, Jack Murray telling us a story. It's like, what better way could you end day 2? Except with a gala dinner sponsored by DataZ. So, but wait, there's more. It's at the Clifford Pier in the Marina Bay. So we are going to take us all off site for one of the beautiful sites, one of the most beautiful sites in Singapore. So don't wear yourself out. You will have about 2 hours between the closing session and our departure for the gala dinner. Dress for the gala dinner is referred to as, I think, smart business.
Smart casual, I think, yeah.
Smart casual? Okay. So I think it's kind of like business casual, but a little smarter. Or is it only, maybe it's only for the people with a higher IQ, like Alicia,
that might be.
Vlado. Maybe you guys go and I stay back at the hotel bar. I'm not quite sure how that works out, but that'll be the pinnacle of our social calendar during the Congress will be the gala dinner. Always fun. Questions about day 2?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the Jack Murray's panel. He's always a great way to end the show, I suppose, because everyone feel like that they listen to a great story, but there's also some bits of information for you there. But they're like, he's doing it very smart. So he's like, here's the meat, and now let's come back to the story, and now another piece of meat. And they're like, okay, but the story continues, and he keeps you on your toes for the whole session. So it's very good. I'm also really happy about this big upselling services session that we will have. There's like 5 different people from different parts of the industry. So that would be also great. Yep.
I'm very honored that Raina and Natan could help me put together such a strong agenda. Again, you're back to the team. The team you build produces a product that reflects the quality of your team. And so I got to thank them for so much heavy lifting. And Natan is actually going to start us again on Friday with Asha Phillips from Meta and Nick Leong from DHL. So that'll be another voice of the client. We're calling this one voice of the brand. There's a lot of what we do for customers sometimes is reputation management, brand management, personality management, crisis management. But this will be the voice of the brand and be a nice session with a couple people from two large organizations telling us how they use our services and what they would like to see from us in the future. After a networking break, we're going to do a little bit of a technical session on machine learning operations for enterprise. Mohan Doshi from 9stars will be moderated by Carlos. So although it sounds like a technical topic, Carlos will keep it lively and moving. So that'll be a good session. And then we get to after another break, we get the MIBA, the Media Intelligence Business Ecosystem, has a session. And that was a portfolio created by our past President Lara Garcia, and Romina Gersuni from Press Relations has really taken the ball and run with it. She's organized a session that she's calling a knowledge hub, disruptive innovation. So she has representatives from the MIBA leading that session, and I'm looking forward to it. The MIBA is always something that I find very interesting because it pulls in not just our immediate companies, but those on the edge and the periphery and media intelligence adjacent. So tech organizations, whether it's cloud providers or large language model providers, all of that gets wrapped up into the MIBA. Any questions about the morning? I moved pretty quickly.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm really excited about both of the panel. Third, because we have a representative from Meta. That will be interesting. I hope nobody will roast her too much. There is a representative of DHL, so it's always good to hear a client's voice in all of this, because sometimes we get all wrapped up in our own ideas and we don't really listen to the client. Then we have machine learning operation. That's something that you have to be on. That's something that you have to jump into that vibe of machine learning. And I think, as Todd said, Carlos is going to make it energetic and interesting, even if it might be a bit of technical. Again, I'm also really interested about what are the development in MIBA, because we talked to Romina it was one of our first episodes where we talked with Romina about MIBA. It's been a long time, so I'm really looking forward for an update on that.
Absolutely.
Then we have lunch. We got to feed people. People will be hungry after taking in so much knowledge. And then we come back with a topic on empowering trust and transparency. And it has a bit of a technical angle to it as well, leveraging blockchain technology for publishers. I'm really interested to hear Omar Signori from InfoJuice. This is a person I'm unfamiliar with, but it sounds like InfoJuice is doing some really interesting development. So that's a big question mark for me, in that I'm going to attend it because it sounds so interesting and I don't know anything about InfoJuice. We have a break, and then a session that I sound like a broken record. I'm excited about all these sessions, but we're going to do a SWOT analysis for 2024. And it might seem rudimentary or basic to some people, but evaluating what your perceived strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats will be for next year is a great jumpstart on strategic planning for your own team. This is a session. It's going to be a 1-hour session with 4 of the leaders in our industry. Well, 4 clear leaders. One of them I have lured out from the land down under, the past giant of FIBEP, a famous rower, excelled in high school as a rugby player, a giant of a man, John Kroll, who many will know from Media Monitors and Then I Sent Ya, and the part of the brains behind Truescope. I'm not saying I'm the other part of the brains. He's one of the co-founders of Truescope. John will be joining Mazen Nahawi from Karma, Petra Mazanova from Onclusive, and Magdalena Horanska from Newton Media. So we're bringing together kind of the big names, the big leaders in FIBEP to give us a SWOT analysis for 2024. I think it will be enlightening, but I think it will also be pretty funny to put those personalities together on one stage. I have to admit, that was my idea.
I'm glad you're the moderator. So
if it goes as I planned, hopefully we'll see some fireworks and some sparks fly, and everyone will be well entertained, but well educated as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Quick break, and then we finish off with a couple quick runs. Carlos Amaral from Preberim, a professor from the University of Mercatorum, and Thomas Velemand will moderate a session called From FYI to ROI with AI. So for your information, to return on investment with artificial intelligence would be my translation. That'll be a good session and a good way to wrap up. We didn't want to hit all the same technology things people have already seen this year, but it'll be a good way for us to just tie it in a bow, what we do, what we need to focus on for customers, and how we implement technology in a way that makes sense. So I'm very excited to have that be our last official session. Then there'll be a discussion on where to go next year. So if anyone wants to submit a proposal for the World Media Intelligence Congress to be hosted in their city for 2024, please get that to either Magdalena or Zuzana, the Secretariat, because we'll be discussing that and deciding. You, the person in the audience, the FIBEP member, will help us decide where we go next year. And then we'll have some closing remarks and be done. That'll be the Congress for 2023. Did we leave anything out?
I don't think so. I must say I'm a bit overinformed, overstimulated, overwhelmed, and I can imagine how I will feel after this 3 days. But then again, I'm always, after the last FIBEP Congress in Dublin, I was so energized, and there's just meeting other people who are also, media geeks, and they are all interested in the topic, and they like to talk about it, and you can learn so much. I just cannot imagine a better place for media intelligence specialists to be than on Media Intelligence Congress in Singapore.
That's perfectly said, Alicia. It's and to keep everyone energized, I'll mention one more of our sponsors that's near and dear to my heart. Truescope will be sponsoring the coffee and beverages throughout the meeting. So if you need extra caffeine to make sure you don't miss one moment of the event, hit the Truescope coffee station. They'll have tea and soft drinks, I'm sure, but Truescope is sponsoring that. Concept BIU will be sponsoring the lanyards that you'll wear around your neck. Be careful with those. Could be a choking hazard. Argus Data Insights will be sponsoring notepads and pens. And lastly, the survey you receive at the end will be coming from TagFact. So they're sponsoring that. Great support from our sponsors. And one thing I added this year, and I think the sponsorship is still open, I added a DJ.
I saw that. Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. It's the coolest sponsorship opportunity you can get.
Yeah, so the DJ is going to be there from the start of the meeting till the end of the meeting. Transitions. I listened to his playlists, and the guy's super talented. So there'll be a DJ. Dancing will be permitted if you must.
I'll try not to. Okay.
I think that's it for me. I covered everything. If you've made it this far in the podcast, congratulations. You do win a free glass of water sponsored by FIBEP. We'll give
at the Congress, but you must get to the Congress first.
You must attend the Congress to collect your water.
Well, saying all of that, I would just like to say that we're looking forward to meet you in Singapore. Just a few weeks ago, we are recording on the 29th of August, 2023. So there is still time to book your trip, and we are really looking forward to meet you there. And you will have the opportunity to talk to Todd, to Alicia, to me, and all these interesting people which we mentioned. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to meet you there.
It's going to be a great meeting.
Absolutely.
Can't wait.
Well, thanks for having me on again, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're one of our favorite guests.
Well, you two are rock stars in my mind. You guys should sell like merchandise at the podcast.
Will do, for sure. Yeah. If that thing with the AI does not work, I will try to, in a way, return my money with merchandise for the podcast. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you again. Thank you for staying with us, and expect new episodes from the Media Intelligence Explained podcast. Saying all of that, we'll just leave you here, and we're really hoping that with this episode, we managed to explain why you should book your trip to Singapore right now. See you there.
See you there. Bye.